Well, hello everybody. Welcome to I've got music still playing. Let's get that music off here. That's coming through right here. Let's mute that. Hello. Welcome to the official podcast, the Keeper Chronicles, which is, yes, it's a ChatGPT generated name. I told them about our league. I told ChatGPT about our league, and it came up with the Keeper Chronicles, the official podcast for the Ultimate Keeper League. I don't want any renegade podcasts out there, so no starting any upstart ones. Each and every week during the season, I hope this doesn't fall off like my recaps always did. We're going to look at the events, bring up some history, hand out some awards. Hopefully I'm going to try and have a guest on the podcast. I'll be asking you guys. I'm going to try and figure out how to do Zoom so that we can have a Zoom guest as well. So for those of you in Hawaii, which there are two of you right now in Hawaii, which is funny, I'll have a guest on the podcast with me to kind of balance my decisions. I've been accused of being a power-hungry, power-tripping commish before. I don't like that, and I make the decisions unilaterally, but now I will have somebody to help me balance them. Today, we have a guest with us. You know him as your champion. I know him as my brother, Jacob. He is no stranger to you. Jacob, say hi.
Hey, everyone.
30 years old, almost 31, going to be 31 in September. He's married, has three great kids named James, Neely, Cornelia, and Henry. And he has a huge butt, so...
Hey, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy that I get to be the first guest here, and let's get this thing started.
So, just before we get into it, tell us a little bit about you. Jacob, tell us, what do you do for work?
So, by day, I am a data scientist. By night, I'm the fantasy football league champion.
Okay, that was all right. Fine. You're a data scientist. Who do you work for?
I work for a company based out of New York called Coda. We do cancer research. We have a data models, and we can do different projects for both life science companies and academic partners.
So in essence, he works for Big Pharma, everybody. Just want you to know that we have a traitor in our midst. At one point, he thought that I really actually had a problem with him working for a big pharmaceutical. He's not even a pharmaceutical company, so he helps actually prices stay low and research. I don't know. Whatever he's doing is good. Jacob, what is your favorite NFL moment?
It's got to be when we went to the Minneapolis Miracle and we were there live. I don't think anything can really compare to being at a playoff football game, but let alone like an iconic one. Second,
so true.
Second on the list is the largest comeback in NFL history. 33 points down, coming back to win that. Luke almost being kicked out of that game for throwing paper airplanes onto the field.
Everybody was doing it too. Okay, there's a story to that one. So it was such a bad game. We were down 33.
We were down 33 points.
We were down 33 points, right? And so they'd given us all those programs, right? They put the programs on your seat. Everybody's folding them up and making paper airplanes out of them. Literally, the entire stadium is throwing paper airplanes. And the freaking stranger next to me waves down the security guard and points me out that I'm throwing paper airplanes. And she comes and talks to me. She's like, if I see you do that again, you're out of here. This is not a game. And I'm like, yes, ma'am, whatever.
And what was the best part? At the very end of the game, what did he say to you?
Oh, my gosh. He goes, aren't you glad you didn't get kicked out? What? That was your fault, dude. What a doofus. I also like that during that game on the actual NFL broadcast, you could see the paper airplane that made it all the way down to the field. As
the Vikings were punting for the nth time that day.
Yes. Okay, I want to ask you a question about our league. Tell everybody here, why do you want to add an active wide receiver slot? Because we still do have time to make a decision before the draft.
Yes. So currently the active roster is 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and a flex. And if you consider the flex likely to be a wide receiver for most teams, if you look back on the year, most times a wide receiver was started there. If you consider the number one wide receiver on each team to be the best wide receiver, even though that's not necessarily true, we wouldn't even start all 32 NFL teams' number one wide receiver in a given week. So if we were to add an active wide receiver slot, that would force 24 wide receivers to be started, and it would make the flex spot a little more interesting. You could start a running back there with for some teams, depending on how the roster is laid out. I mean, and who knows what's going to happen this year? There could be some breakout tight ends. Some team could have 2 top-tier tight ends and could start a tight end there. But I think overall it actually would add to the league and add to the fun. I mean, it's an extra round of the draft. It's an extra player on the team without actually adding an extra bench spot. So I feel like you're still making a lot of hard decisions just by, even though you're adding that active spot.
I get your logic. The fear is always the trading, right?
I feel like shown in the last 2 weeks, having been more trades in the 2 weeks prior to this draft than all of last season. Now that draft picks are able to be traded, I feel like trades are going to be a lot more common this year.
I don't know. I actually don't know how ESPN works. I don't know if we can trade draft picks for next year.
We can. You can already trade draft picks for next year.
So you can trade your first round draft pick?
Yes.
So it doesn't matter the order. It just says your round pick.
It will just be your round pick.
Very...
So, I mean, in theory, Luke, you and I could trade first round picks, and you actually move back in the first round.
Because I don't know if it's...
Yeah, you don't necessarily know. So really, you should, if you're wanting to increase
the value.
Trading
a player for the draft pick, potentially.
Well, you should... Yeah, if you wanted to increase the value of a draft pick, you should say you'd offer me a 3 in exchange for a 2 to ensure that draft pick is actually moving forward.
Okay. Okay. Well, you heard it here, guys. This is the argument for adding a wide receiver slot. I'll put it out to you in the group chat if that's something you are interested in. If you agree with his logic, I think the strongest point that you said there was that. It would be a wide receiver 3, Ross. The strongest point you said was that we're not even using all 32 teams wide receiver 1 every week. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we will, because those need to be distributed. Well,
and yeah, I mean, that's also saying that you're wanting to start every team's wide receiver 1. Which
is not necessarily true.
Exactly. I mean, you're going to want to start some wide receiver 2s over a team's wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think at an 8-team league, we can easily support 3 starting wide receivers. Go vote.
Get out the vote. It's coming before November, though. Okay. Before we move on to our next section, when we're going to talk about keepers next, I do have to do the first official presentation of the trophy. Now, for those of you who have won before, which is Boompa, David, and just you.
This is.
I was gonna say Sam, but R.I.P. DeMar Hamlin.
R.I.P. man.
He won the game of life. So here we have the first look you guys are going to be getting at our trophy. This is the Ambrose Cup right here. Jacob and Sam got this for me for my wedding, and I am definitely repurposing it and regifting it. Now, it's going to stay with me because I'm not mailing this out to wherever David and Ross are. But there's no engraving on it. It's a traveling trophy, but to keep track of who has won it, there is the scroll, okay? So there's the scroll. So
is it the scroll of destiny?
It is not the scroll of destiny. But if you look on here, 2021, Boompa, the Nighthawks. 2022, David, the Ambrose Killer. 2023, Jacob, trust the process. I will, you know what I'm going to do live actually right now?
You writing your name in?
Nope.
Putting Sam on there?
Nope. I want you to see there is an official asterisk now. DeMar Hamlin has been noted. David, your win is not unqualified. So that is on there. Here's the Ambrose Cup.
Fantasy football trophy, not the Ambrose Cup.
The Ambrose Cup family fantasy football. The scroll's going back in. Jacob, here's your trophy. You're in town, so you can keep it until I need it back.
Sounds great.
Or you can add the next winner to the scroll, and maybe we could start it that way. So, yeah. Okay. Next things up, we're going to look at keepers. And so I have... Let's look at keepers. Okay, we're back. Little transition video. Oh, yeah, I've got to... Let me... Where is... let me open it over here. Here we go. I'm getting something pulled up real quick. No. I want this right there. There we go. Where's your keeper? Is it in B? Wait, how do I get to your keepers tab?
It's at the bottom.
What do you mean? Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. I'm going to show you something. We're going to go to a different scene here. What? Am I not supposed to show that?
I thought we weren't showing this.
Wait, I thought we were showing it.
Oh, I just got to hide a column.
Oh. You know what? We can look through.
And we're good. We're good now.
Okay. Wait. Okay, you do have all their keepers.
I've got all the keepers.
Okay. Let's look at who people are keeping right now. Let's go to this. Now they can hear us.
All right.
Sorry about that. Working out the kinks, Working out the kinks.
Back at this. Different positions are highlighted in different colors. Is Sam actually keeping ETN? I was assuming that. Or is he keeping Diggs?
Oh, let me see.
I'd have to imagine he's keeping ETN over Diggs.
He is keeping ETN, Tyreek, and DJ Moore.
Okay. So I have it correct. So just based on ESPN's rankings of players, I tabulated each team's average keeper rank, and then took the average and ranked them all.
Why don't you? Yeah, you go to that tab. I'm gonna go to here and just. Well, I can keep showing it. Okay. Oh yeah, you can. Because if you show it on there, it'll show it on here, right? Yeah, it will.
So, yeah, because now I'm highlighted. So,
okay.
No home cooking, but I am rank 1. I have the best keepers according to ESPN's rankings, which...
According to science, right?
Yes,
but
I mean...
yeah, so the data scientist has cooked the books a little bit, yeah.
I mean, that's also depends on what your idea of ESPN's rankings are, which... hit or miss, right? Luke and David actually tied exactly for average keeper rank. Luke is very much boosted by Brees and Bijan being like the number 3 and 4 ranked player this year. David just is like all around.
While we're talking about boosted, you have the number 1 overall.
Yeah.
So that's a definite boost.
CMC is number 1, Amon-Ra is number 7, and Garrett Wilson's 15. That gives me like an average rank of 7.
What was Kelsey?
23.
Oh, gosh.
Something like that. It was a pretty bad trade.
Bad trade. Oh, man. I'm going to get roasted for that one.
Yeah, so Brees and Bijan are great picks, and I mean, of note, you are one of 2 teams that are planning on keeping 2 wide receivers. David is actually keeping you're keeping 2 running backs, 0 wide receivers. You're keeping Kelsey. Good for you. David's keeping 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver. Just an interesting note there. Only 2 teams keeping 2 running backs. What's your thoughts there? Why are you doing that?
Running backs are a big help for me. They helped me do well last year. I didn't win, but
4th place is good.
And I realized last year I definitely should have traded, but I feel like people were a little bit skeptical of the trades. I had picked up in midseason. I'd picked up Jerome Ford and Isaiah Pacheco and Kyron Williams.
Yeah.
All 3 of those guys.
Yeah.
Bijan
was not good last year.
Bijan was not good. Brees Hall was he injured again last year for a little bit?
He just had Zach Wilson at quarterback.
Yeah. So I'm really hoping for a good, strong running back core that I can build a team around. Now I have done some trading. You know, I gave Ross AJ Brown for a
questionable
2nd round pick. Why is that questionable? Should I have kept him instead of Kelsey?
Depends on what you think about the Eagles offense, right?
I guess. Anyway,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. And so I'm feeling good about my draft strategy, honestly.
So you're going into it thinking the double hero back is the way you go, where you're likely missing out on a top tier wide receiver, but
that's not necessarily true. I might not miss out on a top tier one because I have a 1st round pick for that.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's look at.
Should we keep going down the list?
Yeah, keep going down the
All
list.
Right. Do we want to talk about David?
We can talk about David.
Okay. I mean, he traded to get Gibbs from you.
Yes, which was a good trade for him.
Great trade for him.
I wasn't going to keep Gibbs anyway.
Right.
Because I can't. I'm not. You're making fun of me for keeping 2 running backs. Imagine if I kept 3.
If we have 3 active wide receiver spots, then keeping 3 running backs could be a good idea. You have your flex set.
Well, I'm not doing it now.
Thanks. Okay. Yeah, I mean.
Okay, what do we think about Jonathan Taylor?
That's a great question. I mean, he was injured for most of last year, right?
I think his standout year was a fluke. I don't think he's coming back and I don't think he's going to be anything special this year.
I kind of think that JT could be good. I mean, it depends on who's playing quarterback, Joe Flacco or Anthony Richardson. I mean, one is probably going to help him a little more than the other, but I think JT could be good. The Colts are a good offense. They've got a good line. I think JT's a good keep pick.
Puka also is questionable.
I will say, David,
and here's the deal.
That's a bad keeper in my mind.
David has named his team after Puka.
Full send.
It is the full send. Is he going to be a rename the team halfway through the year type of situation? Do you remember what was I the year Cook got injured? I had you're a crook, Captain Cook.
Yes.
And it was like
maybe week 4.
It was so depressing. I was like, I've got to freaking rename my team. And what I think I became the sleeper that year or something like that.
Yeah.
Just like something so awful.
It was
and so
bad.
I'm guessing we're gonna see.
I don't think Puka's going to be that bad that we have a team rename, but I think Puka as a keeper is questionable.
He's not. It's not that he's untested, but he's just not proven yet.
The ESPN ranks love him though. So
he was amazing last year.
Yeah.
How many receptions per game did he have on average?
I don't know. But ESPN ranks him as, I believe, like a number 10 overall prospect in fantasy football right now for PPR leagues.
you got to wonder. And, it's crazy that Puka's getting the keep over Cooper.
Cooper Kupp is rated closer to like 30th for player rankings, which is crazy to me considering 2 years ago he was coming off his
number 2, wasn't he? Behind CMC.
He was coming off almost breaking the single season wide receiver receiving yards
sure. That's
record,
saying,
and
yeah.
he had like 160 catches or something like that.
Right.
Next on our list is Ross, ranked 4 in terms of keeper strength, with Saquon, Jamar Chase, and AJ Brown from Luke Ambrose. What's your thoughts?
Okay. Saquon, I think he's on a bad team. He's not.
Do you know he's on the Eagles now?
Oh, when did that happen? This is classic.
No, you're not being for real, are you?
No, I'm for real. Was he on the Eagles last year?
No.
Okay, thank goodness. Oh, gosh.
The Giants decided not to re-sign him, and he went to Philly.
Oh, I was thinking that when Ross offered me Saquon, I was thinking he was still on the Giants.
No.
Whoops.
Saquon could be...
he could be good this year.
Pretty good this year.
Yeah, he could be definitely very good. Could be good.
Everyone's a could be.
Yeah. Well, duh. Jamar Chase, I'm wondering if he'll pay off this year. Joe Burrow injured last year.
The Bengals were just a wreck last year.
They were a wreck. You can say, oh, yeah, Joe Burrow was injured. That's why Jamar Chase didn't have a good year. That's part of the reason. But when Joe Burrow was healthy, he sucked. He was my quarterback last year for a little bit.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
But Joe Burrow, like 7 points a game.
I don't think Joe Burrow was ever 100% healthy last year because he got injured during training camp, and then he had whatever freak thing happen to his arm. But like, I believe because Burrow was injured, they finished last, so they have a relatively easy strength of schedule. So Jamar Chase could be facing some pretty easy defenses this year. And then AJ Brown. So Ross is actually doubling down, I should say, on the Philadelphia Eagles offense, kind of turning a corner and, being better than they were the second half of last year where they scored 16 points a game total. I don't know if it was Jalen Hurts getting injured, if Big Dom getting kicked off the sideline, or what happened. But Ross is banking on a big turnaround here.
Yeah, AJ, I mean, obviously he was on my team last year, and he was kind of that boomer bust.
He boomed for, 8 straight weeks? And then
he
busted
for 8
straight weeks?
But I think it'll be interesting. It's you, him, and Benton who are the 2 wide receiver guys. You're keeping 2 wide receivers.
And Sam.
Sam's keeping Tyreek
Hill
and DJ.
Moore.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a good strategy. I think it was definitely Ross's best play. And getting Brown was probably a good thing. So
getting Brown's huge. Next up on the rank, number 5, we have Sam. Sam keeping Tyreek Hill.
Sam was the runner-up, right?
Sam, yeah. And when you look at his team, it's actually a pretty
I've got it right here.
It's a pretty rough look. I mean, a lot of aging stars. I mean, Austin Eckler last year, you'd be like, yeah, he's a no-brainer keeper. But like Washington Commanders coming off the season where he looked old and not Austin Eckler anymore.
Stephon problematic Diggs.
Yeah,
see he was yelling at.
Yep. So like Sam kind of got stuck with not sure who to keep because his team just didn't age well. I mean, Tyreek Hill's a no-brainer keeper. He's getting old now too, though. He's above 30. I think he's 31, 32. ETN, he's still on his rookie deal, which means he's still good as a running back. Once they sign their new one, they're done. And then DJ Moore is an interesting choice. What's your thoughts there?
DJ Moore, he's going to have Caleb Williams.
He can't be worse than Justin Fields, right?
No, he won't be. No. Caleb Williams will be good, I think.
Okay.
I think that's my take on him. I think he'll definitely be an improvement on Justin Fields.
Okay.
I don't think Justin Fields is the guy. Chicago was interesting because they had DJ Moore especially just had a great end of the season, right?
Yeah.
Where he was just killing it. So I think if he keeps that, it's almost like it's almost like, Jordan Addison at the end of last year had a pretty good closing run,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And so people were looking at him into the next season going, he's more of a target this year. I don't know how training camp, well, obviously training camp didn't go great for him. He's injured now, but
Only an ankle. Should
only
be,
an ankle. Okay.
He should be available by week 1.
Still, they're looking at him like teams, even defenses that are going to be playing against the Vikings are looking at him going, he's
Yes.
going to be a guy to watch. He's the kind of the double threat,
Yes.
the Adam Thielen to the JJ, as Stephon Diggs has that comparison. So bringing a lot of names in here. All that to say, DJ Moore, I think, has carved out a place for himself where he is now going to be seen as a threat, which is, I think that a guy like Caleb Williams stepping in is going to go, yeah, that's a guy I want to throw to. So I think he's got a good upside.
He's got great upside, but I mean, where's his floor now that he also has to compete for targets with Keenan Allen and Rome Odunze?
I don't even know Rome Odunze. Is that a rookie?
Yes, you might need to do some research before this draft.
Well, no kidding. I'm way behind on my research.
Yeah. So I think DJ Moore, he's got a high ceiling but also a low floor. So high risk, high reward, right? Next team to review, we have Boompa at rank 6.
Yikes. Pretender status.
He is our first team that we're going to review here. That is keeping a quarterback.
Yeah, I noticed the trend 6, 7, 8 goes keeping a quarterback, keeping a quarterback, keeping a quarterback.
I mean, but he is keeping QB1 according to ESPN. So
good on him. Josh Allen, really.
Josh, I mean, he's got the rushing touchdown upside. Probably the highest of all quarterbacks, which is just the easiest way to get points.
Even
in
over
fantasy
Hurts.
football. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Because that was just watching last year.
Only if they're at the 1 does Hurts get that touchdown. And there's no guarantees. They somewhat modified the tush-push rule, I believe.
Did they?
I can't say for certain, but I think that they're not allowed to essentially be in the butt before they hike the ball.
You heard it here first. You can't be in the butt.
Yeah, so Josh Allen keeping QB1. Joe Mixon, I think, is a great keeper pick. ESPN is not high on him, though.
He was actually stellar last year.
Yeah, and now he's on a new team. Are you aware of this?
I actually don't know anything. Fill me in. Hey, you know what? I've got a few days to do research.
Okay. Joe Mixon got traded
To where?
the Houston Texans.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good keeper pick.
Who else do they have at the backfield there?
Damian, I can't move Pierce.
I think I picked him up off the waivers like a few years ago, and he was just awful. So that's a great move.
He's bad. Yeah, so I think Joe Mixon could be pretty good, and then he's got the number two ranked prospect according to ESPN with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, is he going to play? Luke, thoughts?
I don't know what's the situation there.
So he was drafted in the same year as Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
So
is he holding out right now?
He is holding out. He's not even holding in. He's holding out.
He's not even signed right now.
He's on his last year of the contract.
Oh, he's on his. Okay. Yeah.
Doesn't want to play, get injured. He, rumor has it, is wanting more money than Justin Jefferson. Rumor. But
I think that's why teams should rush to give a good contract, because it's like Lamar, right? He was like, I want more money. Then who was it who got signed right before him?
Deshaun
Mahomes?
Watson?
Was it Mahomes who got the extension?
Mahomes got I don't know. Maybe it was Deshaun. But he was like, it seems like it's this trend in sports just in general. Like, I want more money than the last guy who got paid. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So CeeDee Lamb is not even at team facility right now.
Oh boy. Does Boompa know this? Have we called suicide watch?
He's currently giving Jerry Jones the middle finger as we speak.
I'm putting the first alert out for the year. Boompa is on suicide watch pending CeeDee Lamb's decision.
And with that, let's move to Team 7, Benton. CJ Stroud, another quarterback. He's banking on him to take that next step, and I think
I
there's.
think he's ready for it.
I mean, there's good patterns here to say that a year 2 is going to be a big step for a quarterback that was successful in year 1.
There's always the possibility of a sophomore slump.
They got Stephon Diggs now.
Yeah, but Stephon Diggs, I think, is going to be more problem than.
We'll see.
Who knows? Who knows?
We'll see.
I think he'll dig in. I don't know.
Then Justin Jefferson, who ESPN has him down at like number 6 this year. Not a fan of Sam Darnold, I'm guessing, is why ESPN dropped him so far.
Probably. Did they just drop him after the JJ news, or is it just?
No. He's been down below 5, I believe, all year.
Okay.
And then Devonta Smith, who I kind of think could be pretty good this year. What are your thoughts on?
I don't even know freaking where Devonta Smith plays because I get
me.
so. I'm pretty sure he's on the Eagles.
Yes.
Okay, and yes, at the end of last year,
And
he was
weighs
the
less
guy.
than you.
He weighs less than me.
I believe he weighs like
He's made
one.
out of glass. Huh?
Yeah. He's a little man.
He was the guy who was like the third string last year, right?
No.
And then he.
No.
Who am I thinking of?
I don't know.
Wasn't he
Devonta Smith has always been the number 2 receiver.
number 2?
Yes.
Oh,
He's number 6
I
on
thought
the Eagles.
Okay, and but he had a really great end of the season.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
great start.
Probably
I don't know.
not. I mean, he and AJ Brown probably had reverse seasons, if I had to guess.
Sure. But I know he didn't he have like a 55-point game or something crazy like that?
Probably.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about Benton's team?
I just want to look at it real quick because I want to see what else he was working with. The Storm Lake Beavers. It's time to change that. Like, be the Gusties or something. I don't know. You're done with BVU. Let's be done with it. He had Jordan Love, James Cook, Javonte Williams, Debo. He dropped Debo, which I think is probably a good move.
Well, we'll see.
Let's see. Let me look at Devonta Smith. Is this the guy I was thinking of or not? No, I don't want your complete stats.
Yeah.
Why can't I see? I want to see his game log. There we go. Let's see. Last year. Oh, yeah. He had a 0 touchdown year.
Did he really?
Apparently.
Well, chances of that happening again are slim, right?
You gotta think so. Man, yeah. Okay. He had a rough run in there, weeks 5 through 7. And then he had a few good weeks. This is not who I was thinking of. I was thinking of somebody else entirely.
Were you thinking of your boy Godare?
Go dare. No. He kept C.J. Stroud. Josh Jacobs, interesting that he dropped him.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
He's still got days to move.
That's true. I mean, anybody could definitely adjust from what we say, and not that you should or take our advice. Definitely listen to Jacob. Don't listen to me. Because I don't know what the freak I'm talking about half the time.
Next time I'm on this podcast, we're going to play What Team Am I On with Luke, and we'll see how he does. Finally, rank 8, we have...
do awful. It reminds me, I always remind myself of the guy in the league who still thinks that Calvin Johnson is playing.
Do you want Plaxico Burress on your team?
Plaxico Burress, yeah, right, all of that.
Yeah.
Tim Brady,
Yeah. Should we move on to Mark?
Let's talk about Mark.
He has Lamar Jackson still. He is holding on strong to Lamar Jackson being the MVP, not only of the league, but of fantasy football.
That is still the weirdest MVP pick. I don't know how...
It was kind of a weird season
It did not make sense.
He had stats, but I just didn't feel it.
It didn't feel like he had the stats.
Yes.
But he got paid.
Yeah, that's right. Mark, still in love with Devontae Adams as well, has to keep him. Holding on to that Packers glory days of Devontae Adams.
Let me just show you, so Mark came into my office. We were sitting right where we're sitting right now. And it was like the day that ESPN had finally put out the player outlooks on everybody. And I was like, let's just look at the player outlooks and let's see, what they say about your team. So it was like Lamar Jackson. Okay, here's the player outlook, elite dual threat ability, top tier fantasy numbers. Okay, he might be a keeper. Let's look at Najee Harris. He should be targeted as a lower tier flex only. Not looking good. Let's look at Chuba Hubbard. He'll be worthy of only a mid-round pick. Okay. Jalen Waddle. Now, you are high on Jalen Waddle here. He's projected as a fringe fantasy wide receiver too. I told Mark, let's keep an eye on him. I don't know if that's worth the pick, the keep. Now, he remains a fantasy wide receiver 1, Devontae Adams, entering age 31 season. Mark loves Devontae from the Packer days.
Yep.
That's an easy keep.
Yep.
Mark seriously considered keeping this man right here. He said, okay, if you know Mark, you know how he kind of goes about things. But I was like, he's going to be out. He's not worth a pick. He's not worth keeping. Like, that's a draft pick. You know, if you really want him, take him in the late round, and he can sit on your bench. But it's not worth keeping somebody.
Is the Hawk Pat Fryermuth 2.0?
Mark loves T.J. Hawkinson. Even though he's a Viking, he loves T.J. Hawkinson. He goes, you know, it's only 6 weeks. Which, of course, like, if you're thinking about an 18-week season, is fine. But we have, like, what, a 14-week fantasy season?
17.
So is it 17?
We go to week 17.
Okay, but if you're making the playoffs, it's like 14, right? Or if you're not making the playoffs, it's like 14. It's like half your season.
To some extent, yeah.
So I was like, don't keep Hawkinson. We looked at DeAndre Hopkins, wide receiver 3, maybe solid wide receiver 2.
So I just want to bring up again, you're relying on ESPN, who
I am, but like
a little faulty.
But, you know, I was trying to show him maybe how he could do his own.
Okay.
You know, I seriously considered having him keep Justin Tucker.
No.
But then I was like, that's just stupid. Christian Watson, you keep going. High upside wide receiver 4. Yikes. Miles Sanders, you just keep going. He'll need a big training camp if he's anything more than an injury insurance policy this season. Like, that sucks so bad. Of course, Mark could do the handcuff, you know, Chuba with Miles Sanders, so it would be a bold strategy. Kittle as a keeper, what do you think about that?
I mean, it just goes back to your idea of having that tight end set in stone and kind of drafting knowing that you don't need a tight end.
Yeah, I mean, will Mark get a good late to mid-round pick because people are starting to pick tight ends and he doesn't need one, and that bumps up somebody who would be potentially a good add to his team? Maybe.
I think Kittle could be good. I mean, you have to think Kittle's a major target in that San Francisco offense.
And it's a good offense.
Exactly.
Depending on who you ask. Is Purdy actually good?
Yes.
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I just want to just what we're looking at. Brown will likely be boom or bust type. He's injured.
He's injured.
Yep.
Might be out for week 1.
Now, you mentioned
2,
James
3.
Conner, RB2 consideration. Should Mark keep him? You know, Mark doesn't have a wide receiver. A running back.
James Conner is getting old. I want to caution you there, Mark. He is getting old. He could be good, but he's getting old.
And then we finally come to Mark's Achilles heel, somebody that he considered because he has such a soft spot for the freaking Green Bay Packers.
A.J. Dillon?
He loves A.J. Dillon, Quadzilla. He loves him. But then you read this and just look at this line. Dillon should go undrafted in standard ESPN fantasy leagues. And I said, I looked at that and it's just not in the cards for you, Mark. He's projected 1.3 points in their first game against Philly. So I would caution you, Mark. Please don't change that to keep A.J. Dillon. So what do we think? Do you want to show the stats or no?
I don't have stats. I just have ESPN rankings.
Oh, let's show the ESPN rankings. I just want to see, want to show people just what the numbers are here. So obviously you're at the top with a rank of an average ranking of 7.7.
Yes. Then you and David both have an average keeper rank of 10.
Oh, Ross, you'll be interested to know you're not far behind at 10.7.
Yes. And then we have our first kind of jump where we have Boompa and Sam at Sam and Boompa, I guess, at 22.3 and 23. Pretty close. Again, ESPN just, for whatever reason, does not like Joe Mixon.
If you bump that up,
yeah,
even a few slots.
Yep. And then you also have to consider that ESPN doesn't like quarterbacks either.
True. It's very true. Maybe I'm not necessarily saying it would be a much tighter spread, but the 6, 7, 8, they're all keeping that quarterback, which really is a hit. Like Lamar is 29 because they're ranking all positions, right? There's no
Yes.
weight to the rank.
There's no weight to the rank.
You could have done position ranking, which could have been
Yes,
well, but it's still the same sort of deal.
Exactly. Yep. So it's an interesting look. It's an interesting way to look at these teams before the draft, and we'll get ESPN's ideas of what our teams are looking like after the draft.
So let's talk about the draft. Let's talk about the draft. I've got to add it right here. Add existing. All right. So as you can see, just to remind you what the draft order is, we've got it scrolling across the screen for you here. Ross has the first round pick.
Yeah.
First overall pick, I should say.
Which, Luke, you used last year to get Bijan. So this is a possible future keeper pick.
I don't even know. Do you have a cheat sheet? I don't even know who's.
I do. If you go to that same sheet I gave you,
Round
one is the top ESPN top ranked players remaining.
Remaining, okay.
So at the top of the list is Devon Achane. What's your thoughts? Does Ross go Achane number 1?
It depends. I feel like last year was such a weird start to the season for Miami. You had 50-point games out of two running backs on the same team.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Now, I don't know if Miami's going to blow it up again this year. I don't think he's reliable, especially not when you have Kyron Williams, who I feel like is in an offense that is definitely more reliable. Kyron Williams gets receptions like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to look at the top remaining ESPN ranked players, we have Achane, Kyron Williams, Drake London, Chris Olave, and Rashad White rounding out the top 5.
Olave is interesting. Okay, so Ross has the first pick.
Yeah,
and he's got the 2 wide receiver strategy going. So he's got Chase and Brown.
But there's no guarantees. There's no reason not to pick another wide receiver, especially depending if we vote to add that 3rd wide receiver spot. Please vote.
It will change the draft strategy for him if we do have that 3rd wide receiver spot. If he had Jamar Chase, well, okay, what do you think? Chris Olave or Drake London? Who would you take?
I plead the 5th.
Because you're right in that spot. No, you're at the end.
I'm the last pick. But
You're
you
at
just
the
never
end.
know who's going to fall to me. You just never know what people's opinions are. I'll talk in broad terms about some players, but I'm not going to give you my rankings.
It'll be interesting. I definitely think Ross. I know Ross. I've seen him play fantasy for like 5 years now. I've been in leagues with him.
Yeah.
He loves a good running back. So he's definitely not going to jump those 2 and take a 3rd wide receiver right off the bat.
Okay.
I think he's going to take. I think he's going to take Kyron, honestly.
There's
That's what I
Rashad
feel.
White, Josh Jacobs still available, Isaiah Pacheco, Derrick Henry. Yeah. And then if you're looking at wide receivers in that first round, you have Drake London, Chris Olave, Marvin Harrison Jr. Is he going to be the rookie wide receiver that kind of sets the league on fire this year? What team is he on?
I know what team he's on. He is on. Wait for it. He is on the.
No, you're wrong.
No,
it's the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So is he going to be the wide receiver the rookie that sets the league on fire this year?
Is Arizona going to provide him that space?
We'll see. You look at historically, we've had a couple wide receivers each of the past couple years. You go back to JJ, Jamar Chase.
Do you count Garrett Wilson?
Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave both did great their rookie year. They didn't. I wouldn't say put Jefferson or Jamar Chase numbers up, but they both did great. Puka last year.
Right. Entering into the Arizona Cardinals, he could be their only option, which is sometimes a good.
Yeah.
Sometimes a good thing to
have. Could be good. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then if you're looking tight end, I believe you have Sam Laporta up there, who talk about a tight end that no one saw coming last year.
Right. honestly, I think a lot of people are high on the Lions in general,
Yeah.
and I understand why. I mean, Gibbs got a ton of receptions last year.
They're a team-
Laporta got a ton of receptions last year.
Yeah. They're a team that just executes. They do everything well.
And do you think they're on the rise, or do you think they've plateaued? Like, do you think that they're going to hit that same like sort of like
I don't think they're going to
NFC championship and fail, or like a second round of the playoffs and fail?
I don't think they're going to be worse than last year.
Okay. I think that they might.
We'll see.
And it's just a hunch. It's just a suspicion that I have based on absolutely zero research, absolutely zero anything. I just feel like last year was their year, and I don't think they're coming back to the NFC Championship this year.
We'll see.
I don't even know. Well, actually, you know what? I would have said they weren't going to win the NFC North Division because the Vikings were going to win it until some of the news we got today. So I don't know.
What news?
JJ, I was hoping
He wasn't playing this season.
I thought he was going to play.
Okay. And then just to kind of round out the talks about possible first-round picks, if you're thinking quarterback, Jalen Hurts up at the top, followed by Mahomes, and I'm sure someone else is up there. Maybe not.
Pretty far down.
Yeah.
Honestly, I bet Lamar was the next one on there. And he was 29.
I believe ESPN has Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Lamar, and Patrick Mahomes as the top 4 quarterbacks.
I'm seeing some guys here
that you don't even know who they play for.
No.
Huh?
Well, actually, there has been a lot of shuffling that I need to get kept. I need to, I don't even know. Where is Alvin Kamara now?
Still the Saints.
Still the Saints.
Yep.
Okay. Aaron Jones, interesting.
Yeah.
He's at the Vikings. Mark Andrews.
Luke, we're beyond the first round.
I know
now.
I'm beyond the first round. You gave me to 30? 31?
I just pulled everyone from the ESPN top 50 and deleted people that are being kept.
But I'm looking, that's potentially the second round too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So do you want to kind of close out?
Yeah, let's talk about just some
reminiscing of some, league winners are usually not found in round 1. League winners are usually, you're going to find them in the mid-round picks, or if you get lucky and pick up Puka Nacua after week 1.
Right.
Sorry, David, it didn't work out for you to win, but, I mean, he's a league winner type where
right.
You're not taking him pick 1. You're finding someone in the mid to late rounds that over...
Well, because, most of our... If you have a first round league winner type, he's probably your keeper.
Yeah.
So like CMC, for example,
Exactly.
Absolutely a league winner.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, if I just went back and looked at some picks last year, none of these were necessarily league winners, but I mean, these were players we didn't expect to produce it as well as they did. And I got round 9, pick 4.
You're fine.
Okay, round 9, pick 4. Ross picked DeAndre Swift, who, I mean, that's like our 4th or 5th. It's.
That's who I was thinking of.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that's
DeAndre
who I was
Swift,
thinking
the
of.
running back.
Yes, the running back.
Who's he play for?
He plays for the Eagles.
No,
Didn't he last year?
he did.
Okay, who's he play for now?
The Bears.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. But I mean, to get DeAndre Swift, who produced well last year, as a round 9 pick is pretty good. I also put Anthony Richardson up there. Benton took a flyer on him in round 10. The 3.5 games he played really well.
Is he set to be the starter this year?
As long as he doesn't get injured and Joe Flacco needs to come play for him. Okay. And then another one that I don't think anyone put any thought into until probably the last couple of weeks of the season when he was going off. Round 11, pick 7, Sam Ambrose, Zay Flowers. He was doing nothing until all of a sudden Mark Andrews gets injured, and I believe he was the only person Lamar threw to that last 5 weeks of the season. So, not saying they're all league winners, but some treasures are still found in those late rounds.
So you're saying that I should do my research to know who to pick in those last rounds instead of just the names that I recognize from previous years?
there's a saying that no pick is a bust unless if they're picked too high. Just like no pick is a winner unless if it's picked low enough, essentially, right? I made up the second half. That's why it sounded so bad.
Yeah, I followed you the first part.
It's all about draft position and what they produce. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so I just want to make a last comment sort of on I'm well aware of my deficiencies. I'm ranked number 2 in terms of my keepers. I think I've got a good setup here.
Yeah.
I always draft terribly.
Most people, I'm going to give you another nugget here. Most people only focus on those first 3 rounds, and then come those mid rounds, they're just kind of going off
I don't
ESPN.
know what to do.
They don't know what they do.
Right.
That's the rounds where you win.
Wow.
Yeah. So do your research.
This is from the champion last year, so I should probably take this to heart.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Check out my team. It has a crown next to it.
Does it?
It does.
Oh, man. Let me see this. I'm wondering, I think I'm going to be changing my name, so I've got to...
My name is changing. I'm still trying to figure out kind of the theme I want to go with. So.
Oh, man. Well, it has been a good first podcast, live video podcast. We're going to close this out. Let me know if you are out there watching this. Let me know if you want to be on one of our recap weeks. I think I'm going to make this a Wednesday night thing just because it's easy. I might be here for church anyway late. So let me know if you want to do a Zoom in, or if you're in town, like, I don't know. If you come, David, you might come in October. If you want to do one then with me, we could do that, and that would be a lot of fun. So looking forward to the draft on Saturday at 8:30?
8:30.
8:30.
Are we setting up a fun league FaceTime, Zoom? Is there any... Let Luke know if there's interest in that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always typically on a call with somebody or else, somebody or other. So we'll set that up and get on a call and see how the draft goes.
And Luke told me he's open to any bits or reoccurring segments that you want to contribute to this podcast.
Well, it looks like you've already started one, which is, Luke, where's that guy play? So, and I won't ever have the answer until I'm in the throes of the season. I really don't know.
Okay.
I don't have Bleacher Report on my phone telling me this guy got traded here, so I could look it up, but I don't. So
it's okay. Yeah, I'm excited to see how this draft goes. I'm excited to hear how your research goes the next couple days, and we'll see you guys soon.
Well, congratulations once again on the trophy. Hold that up. Show them. This is the guy you got to beat. Let's take him down this year, and let's draft well, everybody. See you then.
See ya.